So hello and welcome back to another GP Bikes video. Today we'll be doing a bit of a different video. We'll be doing some tips and tricks. Now I've done of course my original video on GP Bikes where I did 5 tips for new players, and I mentioned in that video that there is a lot of content on YouTube from this game, but not a lot of videos that help newer players or players that are trying to get up to speed. Since then I've put 140 hours on this game and I feel like I'm at a decent level. Now I still have some areas I need to improve, but one thing that is a big thing for me on this game is you can jump on some night with your friends, everyone's like, alright, where are we riding tonight? Somebody throws out a track you haven't even heard of, you're sent a link, you download it, and you're in the pit lane, you don't know which way it goes. With GP bikes, it's always new tracks. Every day or two you're on a new track. With the MotoGP games and most any other game, the game might have 15 tracks, 20 tracks. A month of playing it and you've done every track. God, you probably already know 15 anyway before you start. Half of them are the European tracks that you're growing up on playing since you were a child. GP bikes is different. You're getting on tracks you've never heard of in the middle of nowhere in some place far away from where you live. So today's purpose is to basically give a guide of what I would do when I start a new track. So we're at Anglesey in the UK. Now this is a BSB track. I think they still use it. I was going to use Knockhill, but Knockhill I realised I watched an onboard to see what it's like and it's a really short lap, and then I kind of thought to myself that kind of is cheating. This is still a short lap. You can see there's it's 3.3 miles. It's not that short, but there's a lot of corners. Now for the bicycle a choice I have, there you can't see it because of the pit lane. It is the FIM Juniors, the recent mod that was put up on the GP Bike server. So for basically my first tip is start off with something you're familiar with and something slow. You're not going to be Casey Stoner coming out of the pits on a GP bike, not knowing the track and within 3 laps on the lap record. Sorry to break it to you, you're not Casey Stoner. So step 1, find something you're familiar with or you're comfortable with, and also try and keep it a slightly smaller CC. You don't want something too quick. So we're going to just come out of the pits now. I've done no laps yet. We're going to just come out. Nice car there, nice focus. Now A4 as well there, a couple of them with trans in the background. So I don't even know which way it goes, but if you see in the bottom right of my screen, I have my track map. Now I will be using the track map a lot because it's very handy. You can see up here, I have a right hand hairpin. So I'm going to just crawl around the opening lap and I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm looking for. So, so right in the horizon you see 3 cones. Now if I was on a superbike, them cones are probably braking markers or at least tipping markers. Maybe the second one I'd probably go on the brakes, tip in, and that would be a guide. So instantly I already know for that corner, cones are there as a kind of a reference point. I can see now this is a bit of a straight, so I'm just going to open it up a bit. Now up next we have a very tight left-hander, so I'm going to approach it with a bit of care. Again, look, cones on my right, braking markers of such. Again, very gingerly on the opening lap. You don't want to really push. It's very hard to get used to track when you're trying to just ride hard. Now I can see here I have a bit of a stretch here into another right-hander. Again, I'm just going to slowly make my way around this lap while explaining what I'm doing. Again, now I can see down here I have a bit of a left-hander. It doesn't look that tight, but on the map it is quite tight, so we're going to take it slower than I would have. See, it just tightens on the exit. I can tell that from the map. Now I can see here for the end of the lap I have 2 straights here followed and linked by a hairpin. So again, I'm just going to brake early. I can brake so much later. Them cones there are a great guide, as well as the other ones I did spot but I didn't get a chance to mention on this lap. I'll mention on the next lap. So basically you don't want to push early. What'll happen is you'll end up running off track, you'll crash, you'll go back to the pit, you'll start over. Again, look, my cones to my right, perfect. Grey little markers. Lots of tracks have them. Now they're not always going to be cones, you will have to come up with them yourself, you'll have to find your own ones. But this is just a base idea. So into turn 1, it's a bit tighter than it looks, it kind of goes on for longer than it looks from the outside. Again, what do we have? I have cones. So use the cones. Now they're up here, I didn't know, I think it's up here on the track. Now somewhere on track there's a service road just before the corner. That's again a great part of the track to use as a marker. I'm not too sure, when I see it again I'll mention it. But the key about using a slower bike is you're approaching, like I'm Look how fast I'm going. So here it is actually, this little service road here, that could be a very good braking marker on a good bike because you're just coming into that kink there. You don't want to be, you're not breaking them cones on a superbike, I can tell you that much. Getting through this tight little chicane, so you're looking out for just everything off the track. A lot of people, when they start a new track, will focus on the black stuff, the tarmac. They'll go right, it goes left, it goes right, it goes that. But if you don't have braking markers or tipping markers or any sort of idea where the track goes, your markers are so important. So again, I can use a second cone there as maybe a brake and a tip in, and I hit the first one. So I just put better through there that time. Now I know, I come out here, I have my long straight. Again, always just check back when you're unfamiliar with a track. Keep looking at your mini map. Just there's another piece of service road where that's again, that could be perfect braking for CBR 600 or something along the lines of that. So we're coming to the end of lap 2 here now, and I already have a decent idea where it goes. I slightly pick up the pace. Now again, I'm not going to push because best thing you want to do is just get laps in. Eventually your muscle memory will start to get an understanding where it goes. I know here I need to brake slightly earlier and just take a bit of corner speed through and not try and rush the exit because it does tighten, as well as it goes to the left to get my nice opening for the right hander up ahead. Now again, even though I'm talking over all this every couple of seconds, when I come out of a corner I just have a quick sconce down at my mini-map just to make sure I know what the next corner is. And this time it's going to brake a bit later, so 1:42 is my opening lap. Guarantee if I don't bin it this lap it's going to be quicker. So you know, I'm getting into a bit of a racing line. And again, service road, I'm going to brake at this service road. And the bike isn't set up very well at the moment for me, but that was a decent marker. Much better through there that time. Curves are a bit bouncy. Now this is a tight corner, it goes on a lot longer than it looks. Short shoot to the next right hander, then you go down the hill, I remember that. You can just see into the horizon. Just here, you need to be careful there because the bike will, on a big bike, the elevation change there will affect it. You want to get the bike back over to the right side to open up this left hander. That does get tighter, like I mentioned on previous laps. Now I know, 2 straights, a hairpin, I want a final 90-degree left hander. Or it's more than 90 degree, but you do understand. There's that little service road, that's my braking marker for now. Again, very, very casual at the moment. I'm not even getting the bike into top gears yet, just because what'll end up happening is you kind of forget where you are on track. You'll end up braking yourself, run off track, dirt in your tires, the bike won't handle, and you'll just have to take a couple of laps to get back into it, all just because you rushed the track. So you know, using the track a bit better, getting up to speed with it. Fortunately there now, that was my mistake. There's a bit of an issue with this mod where if you backshift and lean at the same time you just lose the rear, so I'm going to go around the track a bit slower now and just show off things I've noticed. So again, I keep mentioning these cones. The cones are my main tip, is look for these little fellas on the track. Now like I said, they're not always going to be cones. They will be on bigger tracks, GP tracks. You'll have actual boards. Look out, see these Marshall posts? A lot of these are near corner entries, so you can use a lot of them as braking markers. For this one, I could probably tip in at the third one. Yeah, and I wasn't a full chat, but definitely that would be my marker there for that lap. I already have my braking marker for here. No, what I want to do with this, I'm going to go wide. Oh, that's too wide. That's not what I wanted to do. What I want to do is go wide, straighten up that so I could brake a bit better. Don't be afraid to experiment with a new track. Following other people on track as well can be very good. Now you will find, so if you latch on to someone who knows where they're going. Oh, that was unexpected. Bit of grass is silting on the tires. If you do latch on to someone that's quicker than you, you'll try and you brake basically when they brake, and they're usually braking as late as they can, and you're braking later than they can. If you don't know where you're going, you'll end up kind of find yourself in the grass pretty easily. So nice little track this, Anglesey. It's quite small, and I had absolutely zero knowledge of this track before I came here. This is a fresh track to me. There's that little, again, pointing out the marker. Again, you can see there's another Marshall stand there. Marshall post is actually what they're called. So you just look out for all these little things, and then what you start to do is you just join them together, and then you can slowly start to do it. Now, one of my next tips would be start with harder tires. Maybe not hards, maybe again depends on what mod you're using. Medium tires, full tank of fuel, and just go around. A good friend of mine, Biker Gaming, I do a lot of GP bikes with him, and when he comes on to learn a track, he does exactly that. Fills it up, doesn't touch the setup, and just goes round and round and round. And then you come into the pits, he's on lap 36 or 36, and he's setting his personal best, because instead of resetting back to the pits and going, oh, I screwed up turn 1 there, I can definitely not better. Just keep going around. Look, I messed up that corner, it doesn't matter. I'm still up. I can definitely go quicker this lap. I'm going to give it a bit more of a push. And then eventually you go, oh geez, that's how you take that corner. And then each lap there's 3/10. And I'm going to just roll. Again, this track is quite bumpy. I'll use a lot of engine braking. Just tip in nice and early, take a bit of curve. That was probably not the right way. The curves are a little bit janky. We're right by the coast, are we? I don't know much about this track. It looks like the coast there. That could just be the curb is no grip, because it looks like there's dirt coming off it. We know this corner goes on longer, but you can kind of get on the throttle a bit earlier on this and just use the bike to go over and brake at the second cone. Could maybe get away with braking at the third cone. Up by half a second, definitely more time, so I'm going to brake this time at the third cone. Just before it, just to make sure of it. Yeah, I could have got away with it. I did release the brake there just a tiny bit wide. And all you're going to do is you're going to just rinse and repeat all these steps over. Brake the second cone. See, now that was too much. So now what you do, you brake in between cone 3 and 2. If you want, brake at 3. If that's still a bit late, early, use just as you pass 3. That can be your cone. It was a 38.1. It can definitely go a lot quicker. I'm going to brake at cone 2 here. Again, bike's on the move. Now, I have not adjusted the setup here, and I don't advise you do it either. You just want to leave the bike stock. Again, this is why it's crucial to start off with a bike that you are familiar with. Again, I tipped in at the third cone there. Fortunately, these Moto 3s are just tipping a bit earlier for me, so I'm just going against my own rules. I'm not 100% comfortable, but I just want to show off what a slower bike is, what it's good for around here. Again, I just want to release the throttle. I'm going to backshift twice this time, and then brake at the cones. And we get in here. I'm going to avoid the curb this time. Just use your knowledge. Learn from your little mistakes around the track. This corner gets tighter as it goes on. Avoid that curb because it doesn't look like the curb is done right. And try and take a nice swooping line through because it opens up the exit, which really affects the entry. So I'm going to go to the third cone this time. And that's better. You can probably see I'm not looking at my delta yet. My delta's up by nearly 3 seconds, so already you can see how much I've made time wise. But this time I'm going to brake slightly later. Brake at the third cone. No, that time was too late, so I need to brake somewhere just before the third cone. Into the last corner, I couldn't brake at the second cone, I think, so I'm going to brake slightly earlier. So I'm going to brake kind of in between two, just as I pass the third cone. Unfortunately, I was a bit aggressive on the brakes and it crashed, but you can see the process. You can understand where I'm going. Lap 5 and I'm already pretty comfortable with the track. Of course, this isn't Nordschleife, it's not a huge track, but it is a very good one, and you will spend a lot of time on this game. New tracks, tracks you've never heard of, tracks you don't know. Now, I will link in the description Max HUD, which is what I have on screen for all my data. The base standard game doesn't give you the map and give you all these extra bits. You have to download an extra plugin. Can't recommend it enough. I have it on MX bikes, I have it on GP bikes. It makes the quality of the game so much better because you have time screens, you have live data. I'll actually show you everything. You can have all these things: ECU, fuel, helmet, inputs, joypad, lean, live gap bar, map, radar, rumble speed, standing suspensions, and timing. So you have all these things. You can turn them on, customize, move them around the screen, and do everything. You can see I can put the map anywhere I want. I can go to the map. I can make it much bigger if I wanted the map that size. Now, I wouldn't recommend riding with 100% map because this is a small track, and that's what it does. It's right in the middle of my screen. So I go back to 20%, put it there. I can put a background on it. I can put a custom background, but I don't think there's any need. I like it without the background. So yeah, definitely. So I'm going to just run back again before we end off this video. I'm going to run back 5 tips for learning a new track. So step 1, don't run before you can walk. Pick a slower bike. Pick a bike you are have a feeling for, a bike that you've done a lot of time on. If you only ride the World Superbikes, it's not great because you come to a new track, it's really hard. If you come to a track, for example, like this, and you see on a 300cc, or these are 250s, I don't know, this mod is 300s, I think. Anyway, a small single cylinder bike. You're going to go round and round and round. You're going to learn where it goes. You learn the track layout, which is absolutely king. Cash is king, they say, and this term is knowledge. Knowledge is king when you're learning a new track. You're just learning where it goes. You start to understand, alright, I really can't break that late into this corner. Of course, when you go up to a CBR 600 or a ZX6 or an R1, you're gonna have to brake yards, 100 feet earlier, and it's gonna be a lot harder. You carry so much more corner speed in all that. But if you're trying to do that on a track you don't know, forget about it. You're not, like I said, you're not Casey Stoner. I keep referring to Casey because there's a story of him coming to Qatar for the first time and jumping on a big bike and being like instantly on the pace, even though he didn't know where the track went. And that guy's a bit special though. Unfortunately, most of us are not like him, but if you are, fair play to you. Step 2, slow out laps. Fill the bike up, don't go for soft tires, don't adjust your setup, just have a good bit of juice in the bike, go to the pits, look for every little detail on the track you can see. Now every mod is different, so some might be absolutely smooth, there'll be nothing there, and that can be a pain. But most tracks have some sort of braking markers, corner markers, and marshal posts, you have white lines, you have boxes, you have everything. There's so many little things you need to keep an eye on. It's not just about the black stuff, you need to keep an eye on your environment. I can promise you, if you start to learn where things are on track, you'll find so much time. Step 3, use your mini-map. Again, if you don't have the Max HUD mod, I'll link it down below. I highly recommend downloading it. That is my third tip. Tip 4 is just go around, get laps in. You're not going to learn a track after 3 laps. You see me there, I did 5 laps and I was getting up to speed, but I still crashed. Every track has its nuances. That corner I just crashed it there was bumpy as hell, and that's probably where I lost it. I didn't realise there was a bump there. I was braking a bit too hard. Learn the nuances. That's my 5th one. If you're going round and round, you'll start to realise, Jesus, there's a bit of a kicker into turn 1 there on that line. If I take a slightly tighter line, I can brake 3 feet later, move over, and then I can get a better exit. That's worth 2 tenths. All adds up. All adds up. Now, if you have any questions, anything else you need to know about learning a new track, hit me up in the comments down below. I will get back to you as fast as I can with as best of an answer as I can possibly give. But yeah, that has been it for today's video. I will be doing more tips in the future for this game. It is a high skill level game, so after my 130, 140 hours in the game, I'm trying to give as much knowledge back to the community as possible, just for as many people as possible. Next up, I'll probably do more riding techniques other than the tracks, but the joys of GP bikes is the mods and the tracks and all that. So like, I've never once even thought about riding this track, and now I've just done 5 laps on a Moto 3 bike, so that's one of the cool things about this game. But anyway, I'm going to end it there. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like to know about next, whether it be braking, accelerating, cornering, XYZ, suggestions in the description or in the comments. And if you want to come over to my Discord, I do have a videos suggestion box you can post in my Discord. So again, link for the Discord will be in the description. But thank you all for watching. I shall catch you all in the next video. Bye bye.